Now, if you're in middle school, high school, or college, know that this dialogue, this talking thing, is hard. Welcome to Mother-Daughter Connections, the show dedicated to educating, encouraging, and equipping moms to build lasting, meaningful connections with their daughters. I'm your host and mother-daughter relationship personal trainer, Dr. Deering. My heart is to be of help to you. I believe that your relationship with your mom is the foundation for your future success, personally, parentally, and professionally. Now remember, even though I'm a licensed psychologist, I'm not your shrink on this show. I am, however, here to share my opinions and those of my guests. If you have concerns about your mental health, please seek services from a mental health provider in your local area. Now join me as we pause to consider today's topic. Well, hi there and welcome. As always, I am so glad for every opportunity that we get to spend time together. You know, last time we were together, I started sharing with you about how to know who is friend material. Specifically, I started to cover 7 questions to ask yourself to determine who is friend material. And I covered the first 3 questions. And as a review, those first 3 questions are 1, how do you feel when you are with them and when you're not with them? 2, do they respect you? And 3, do they inquire about what you're thinking, feeling, and how you're doing? So today, I want to share with you the last 4 questions to ask yourself. So let's dive in. The 4th question has to do with the area of encouragement. Specifically, ask yourself the question, do they tell you the truth, i.e. keep it 100, in an encouraging way? You know, there's something about people who tell you the truth, but they do it in a way that cuts you down while building themselves up as the one who kept it real or kept it 100. You know, it's where the cost of truth comes at a high price of dicing and slicing you at your expense. You've seen it, right? There are numerous reality shows that depict this pattern, especially shows involving women, unfortunately. And this lack of encouragement usually happens when there is no foundation of respect in a friendship relationship. And that's what question number 3 has to do with. That's why I asked it first before this one. The thing about being told the truth by someone who's friend material is that that person is coming to you from a place or a heart of wanting good for your overall well-being. And they give thought not just to what they're saying, but how they're saying it to you. So, are they encouraging, giving you courage to know that your situation can get better? And if it looks bleak, that you can get through it and handle it. Now, the 5th question to ask yourself to determine if someone is friend material has to do with equality. You need to ask yourself, is there equal effort being put into the friendship relationship by the both of you? Not just one of you, but by the both of you. This is such a key question to ask yourself. Why? You see, there are 3 things that can strain or seal a friendship, right? Proximity, activity, and proclivity. Now, by proximity, I'm talking about how close geographically you live to each other. In terms of activity, I'm talking about what kinds of organized settings do the both of you frequent. And by proclivity, I'm talking about what things are of interest to you that you share in common. What things do you both love? Okay? Each of these areas, proximity, activity, and proclivity, those areas affect you differently depending on your age and where you are developmentally. So for instance, when you're young, okay, a lot of your friendships kind of get started because your mom or your dad or, your mom's significant other, whoever it is, your caregiver has taken you on, say, like play dates or taken you to activities where there are other kids your age. And sometimes that's facilitated more easily when people are close by geographically. All right. So it's based on proximity. Then you end up going from, say, like elementary school to middle school, and you click with some other young queens in training like yourselves based on whether it's an activity that you're involved with, whether it's a sport or an arts and craft adventure, things of that nature. And then when you get to high school and college, your interests or loves or proclivity for certain things is what ends up facilitating friendships, clubs that you belong to, interests that you have, and that might be shared together, that seal you together, okay, in that way. However, if any of those three things change, if there's a change in proximity, activity, or proclivity, then that can put some potential strain on friendships unless you both are putting in equal effort to stay friends. And when things get lopsided, then resentment starts to build up, assumptions can happen, misunderstandings can happen, feelings get hurt, unhealthy patterns develop, and then that leads to drama. And that, I'm sure, is something you don't want. So, determining if you both are putting in equal effort into your friendship is a very, very important question to ask yourself. The sixth question to ask yourself is what I call the notice question. And by that I mean, do they notice or take note of you, your qualities, and your surroundings in a way that looks out for your best interests? It is so important to know who's got your back, right? Just because someone likes, I'm putting air quotes here, someone likes or hearts your posts or follows you, doesn't mean that they really know you, are for you, or genuinely care about you. For example, if you're in middle school, does your friend only talk to you when she's with a certain group of people and kind of look past you or ghost you when she's not? Her behavior may be a sign that she only sees you when it benefits her and she doesn't see you as an equal. You can tell what's the deal more by what they do than what they say. So this is going to be a very important question for you to ask yourself in terms of, do they notice and or take note of you, your qualities, your surroundings in a way that looks out for your best interest? And then lastly, the seventh question to ask yourself has to do with what I'm calling the area of dialogue dealings. The question specifically to ask yourself is, do they deal with difficulties in your friendship by discussing or talking things over with you? Now, if you're in middle school, high school, or college, know that this dialogue, this talking thing is hard, even for us grown-ups. And many of those grown-ups are your friends' parents, okay? Now, we as parents, and moms in particular, we're usually the first people to teach you directly and indirectly about how to communicate. And so if you're thinking about these questions and thinking about whether someone is going to be friend material, if you're looking at how someone does or does not dialogue with you during difficulties, more than likely, you just need to kind of look to see what's going on in their family and how they dialogue to give you some clues on that. And mind you, we are all at different developmental and maturity levels. And so it really does take some maturity to actually engage in dialogue with someone who you're considering to be a friend. And the thing, though, about the maturity level is you don't necessarily have to be, quote unquote, mature in the fullest. It just matters that you're open and willing to work on it. That's the part. So, even if you and this potential friend stumble through a difficult conversation, that's okay, as long as you both are willing and open to work on it and go through it together. And if someone is not open and willing to work on their dialogue and you're still young, then it'll be important to get some help from someone like your mom or a parent or a counselor on how to handle that situation. The important thing here is to remember to ask yourself, is this person open to talk about hard things with you? And if they're not, then you may want to reconsider where in the friend category you want to put them. All right? So, in summary, the 7 questions to ask yourself to determine if someone is friend material is 1, how do you feel when you're with them and when you're not with them? 2, do they respect you? 3, do they inquire about what you're thinking, feeling, and how you're doing? 4, do they tell you the truth, i.e., keep it 100, in an encouraging way? 5, do they put in equal effort into the friendship? 6, do they notice and or take note of you, your qualities, and your surroundings in a way that looks out for your best interest? And 7, do they deal with difficulties in your friendship by discussing or talking things over with you? Again, this is a list I've come up with from my work with mothers and daughters. However, I do want to hear what you have to say. Just send me an email, send it to Dr.Deering at curativeconnections.com, and in the subject line, write the words, a friend. Again, just send me an email, send it to dr.deering at curativeconnections.com, Dr.Deering at curativeconnections.com, with the subject line, a friend. Thank you so much for joining me here today. Remember, you, my queen in training, are not alone in your daughterhood journey. I am in your corner. And Mom, if you've been listening to this episode either with your daughter or by yourself, just know I'm here for you too. If you have any questions for me, please fill out my brief survey this month and I'll answer your question on an upcoming episode. Just go to bit.ly/daughter talk survey to fill out the questionnaire before the end of this month. I'll answer every question confidentially, of course. I'll keep all the personally identifying information out, but I will deal with the question that you ask on air and answer that. There are likely other moms with similar questions in our community who will be helped so much. So take the time, send your questions by going to bit.ly/daughter talk survey. That's all one word. Okay. I look forward to hearing from you and answering your questions on the air. Be encouraged. My queen in training, I'm in your corner. My queen, part of this community, Mom, I'm in your corner, which means I'm in both your corners. You are not in this journey by yourself. Healthy mother-daughter relationships are possible. They just take one connection at a time. I'll see you next week. You've been listening to Mother-Daughter Connections with me, your host and mother-daughter relationship personal trainer, Dr. Michelle Deering. Thanks so much for joining me today. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an episode. Share this episode with a friend so they don't miss an episode. And download the resource in the show notes. Until next time, remember to pause to consider how you can connect intentionally so you can improve relationally with your daughter.